The server can run a function on clients, and these are RPCs. Let me go and just copy this so I can do that RPC. An RPC, we'll mirror the thing. RPCs are special functions that only get executed on the clients. And they work very much like command. You do the square bracket tag. Now, do not use just RPC. This is from the old networking system and various things. Instead, you want to use client RPC, the client RPC tag. And you're going to write a function. And just like how with command, all the functions have to start with CMD, in this case, all the commands have to start with RPC. So this would be change player name. We'll use the same signature, basically. We don't have to. This could be called RPC Bob. Doesn't matter. But we'll do that. String. And so now debug.log RPC change player name. We were asked to change the player name on a particular player connection object. It might be our own object. Basically, the server's coming back and saying, yep, you can totally use that name. Or it might be someone else's player's connection object, and we're just being told what their new name is. So we'll put the colon space plus n, n, thank you. And then what we're going to do is change player name to be equal to n. Now, in the case where we're being a host, where we're both a server and a client, this player name will be set twice. It'll be set once from the point of view of the server, and it'll be set again from the point of view of the client. That's totally okay. There's, there's nothing wrong with that. You could check to see if we've already updated or something like that. But this will work. And so here what we're going to do is we're going to call this RPC change player name to n. Or, to the new player name. But here's an interesting thing is we could do something like maybe we should check that the name doesn't have any blacklisted words in it. Maybe you don't want to allow people to use, bad words in their usernames, something like that. So we could go and verify whether or not that's the case. And then we get an interesting decision. If there is a bad word in the name, do we... I should just move this around. Do we just ignore this request and do nothing? Or do we still call the RPC, but with, oh my God, the original name? Okay? Now, for the player name change, it's probably be fine to just return immediately and do nothing. But depending on what you're doing, it's possible that to avoid lag, because right now, when we want to change our name, there's going to be a little bit of lag, because what we do is we send the player request to get the name changed. The server then analyzes it, and then the server sends back a response and says, okay, here's your new name. Now that's going to happen relatively quickly, fast enough that for a name change, it's effectively, it's going to feel pretty instant. But there's lots of things like shooting bullets, or maybe you're moving with a slightly different, you're not using the network transform to move. You want to do different things for movement or whatever. And it might be nice to have your local client take your action immediately. Your local client wants to take the action immediately, and then also send a message to the server to say, by the way, I'm doing this thing. And then the server might okay it or not okay it or make a change. Like you might be trying to move to a location and the server's like, well, you can move part way, but then there's actually, you don't realize it, but there's an invisible object here blocking your movement, so you didn't actually complete your whole move like you think. You're here instead of there, or some damn thing. You're moving around on a map and you triggered a trap that someone laid there. You couldn't see it, so you didn't realize you couldn't go all the way, but me as the server have to tell you, oh, by the way, you got snagged over here. And so you have to sort of like just rubber band a little bit on your screen to go backwards. So if you do it that way, you have the advantage of getting instant movement on your local client, so it doesn't feel laggy. But every now and again, the server might be like, whoa, back up a second here. This other thing actually happened. It depends entirely on what kind of game you're doing and what kind of action this is, if you want to have it perform immediately. Anyway, the point is, if you were to perform the action immediately on the client of whatever it is, whether it's a name change or whatever, and it turns out that it's an illegal action, we might still want to call the RPC. Like, if it's an illegal move, we could just ignore it, or we might still want to call the RPC, but with the right data, so that the client gets told what the actual proper thing is. But that'll depend on what kind of action you're doing. Anyway, I think if we do this, we can now hit play. And